Okay, good afternoon everybody. So as I've just been introduced, I'm Rhiannon Colvin. I'm the founder of an organisation called AltGen, and we help young people set up cooperative businesses as a kind of more empowering and collaborative solution to youth unemployment, which is a big problem in the UK and across the world at the moment. So the focus on my talk is really going to be how these cooperative businesses can actually empower us to change the situation, the crisis that we're facing today, into a positive reality and build a more equal, sustainable and democratic economy where we feel like we have ownership and say. So I'm going to start off with my personal story. It begins 2.5 years ago when I graduated from University of Leeds, and I was studying international development and politics there. And I had done everything that they told me to do to get a good job after university. I had done lots of work experience, lots of volunteering, been the president of a few student societies, I got a first-class degree, and so I was ready after university to step out into the charity NGO world and get my perfect dream job. As you can all guess, that's not what happened. And it's not just to do with kind of what I studied or the qualifications that I did or didn't have. This is a problem all across the UK at the moment. We have almost 1 million young people unemployed, and you have 44 graduates applying for every graduate job. So there is literally not enough jobs out there. Anyway, so I decided to keep trying to apply and apply and apply for these various jobs that I was interested in. Sometimes you get a nice rejection letter, sometimes you don't get anything. And after a while I decided, okay, this is pointless, I need to move back home in with my parents and start waitressing, a job that I was doing before university, and start applying for these things that we have, which are unpaid internships. Obviously very problematic in themselves, but that seems to be something that you have to do now in order to get a step on the career ladder, as they frame it. So eventually I got an interview for one of these unpaid internships, a youth empowerment organisation in London. And at the end of the interview process, they said, well, do you have any questions for us? And I said, yeah, actually, what I'd be really interested to know is how many other young people applied for this role. When they told me that it was 150, I was completely shocked. Here there was 150 skilled, talented, passionate young people that wanted to do something good for the world, and they weren't able to do it because there was only one job position that existed. And this, I think, is a very good characterisation of the situation we find all across the world. Young people more and more want to do something that makes a difference, want to do something that has a positive impact, want to work in an environment where they have more say, more control. And there's a list as long as ever of all the social problems that exist. But because of the way the economy is structured, these young people here with these skills and talents and ideas aren't getting to work on these problems over here. So for me, there was this problem there. And this kind of light bulb moment came to me, which was, hang on, as long as our generation keeps fighting for these unpaid jobs, we're going to remain completely powerless. But if we actually start getting together and saying, what happens if we combine our skills, our ideas and our talents, and we start setting up our own businesses, our own projects, and we start making these things that we care about a reality? And so I knew that for me, the answer was in young people cooperating and not competing. But I had no idea how we could do that in a way that actually enabled us to live, especially in a city as expensive as London. So I saved up lots of money, went back home, carried on working, saved up enough money to go on a research trip to Portugal and Spain. And I went to these two countries to look at the solutions young people are coming up with to youth unemployment. In both of these countries, it's as high as 50% in some areas. So you have half of the young population not in education or in work. So in that crisis, and crisis always creates space for new ideas to come out, what were young people doing? What solutions were they coming up with? In Spain, I came across young people setting up cooperative businesses. So they were getting together, they were taking matters back into their own hands, and they were saying, okay, we're going to combine what we have and we're going to make something work here. So they were setting up cooperative cafes, bookshops, bars, there's journalist co-ops there, web development co-ops, any business you can imagine. They were going back to the land as well. There's a lot of unused land in Spain, growing food, making furniture, all sorts of inspiring projects I visited all across the country. And whilst I was there, I was told that actually the cooperative business model was first founded and developed in the UK. Now, I'd gone my whole educational life without ever even really hearing what a cooperative was. And don't worry, I will tell you soon what the difference is. And I was completely shocked by this. How had I gone this long without hearing about this different business model? So I decided that I would make it my mission to come back to the UK and educate and inspire people with this business model and also empower them to set up these cooperative businesses. So what is a cooperative, and particularly why is it different to any other business model? The key difference is that the workers own and run the business. So in most other businesses, you have a manager at the top that has the most say, or a management team that have the say over how the business is run. Or you have the profit that is made by the business going to external shareholders. In cooperatives, that's not the case. It's one member, one vote. So all key strategic decisions are made collectively by the workers. The profit is also distributed between the workers themselves as well. And in some ways, this isn't such a crazy idea. These are the people that are doing all the hard work. So why is it that again and again, the wealth that they're generating is being extracted out of that company? So in cooperatives, that's how things work. There is more equality, there is more democracy. They often have pay ratios to make sure that someone at the top isn't paid more than 3 times someone at the bottom. Sometimes everybody is paid equally. It very much depends on the cooperative, but there is a commitment to empowering people and their voices being heard, and also to looking at how wealth is distributed, as well as what your impact is on people and the environment. And for me, this just seems so relevant to the situation that our generation is in today. We feel very politically apathetic and disengaged. We don't really feel like our voice matters. There's all this stuff in the media about how lazy we are, or how we're asking for too much, or how we don't care about many issues. And that's actually not true. The channels just aren't there for us to be able to express these desires or wishes or things that we want to do. We also live in a very unequal economy, and nothing is really being done to readdress, the 99%, the 1%, where wealth is going in the economy. And finally, it's still very hard as a young person to find a job or work in a company that actually cares about the impact it has on people and the environment. So that's why cooperatives are so exciting for me, because they can do those all 3 things. And this whole idea of kind of startup and tech and social enterprise, this isn't anything new. This is very trendy, very sexy at the moment. We have programs like The Apprentice and Dragon's Den, but they present a very kind of biased idea of what it takes to set up a business. You have to be this cutthroat individual that's going to do anything to get to the top. And actually, cooperatives propose a collaborative business model. They actually say, together we're stronger. If we work together, if we combine our skills and our ideas, we can make this happen. And a lot of young people I speak to say, oh yeah, but I don't have it in me to be a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. And actually, I think everybody has the capacity to be in control of their own work, to have a say over these key decisions, and they should be. And everyone has something that they can contribute to a team. And actually, cooperatives have been proven to be far more resilient than other forms of social enterprises, because there is a group. Because when things are amazing, everyone feels great together. When things are really tough, you're supporting each other, you're sharing the risk. And you're sharing the responsibility that you take on when you do something like this. Cooperatives also look at that internal structure of a social enterprise. So what you find with a lot of other startups or social enterprises, they care about what they're doing externally, who they're helping out here, same with charities. But they don't actually look at how we structure it inside, and they often replicate the kind of neoliberal management hierarchy structure and distribution of profit. This is why you have a lot of charities where a CEO can be on a 6-figure salary and an unpaid intern is being paid nothing. We care about doing some good outside, but we're not actually looking at ourselves and how we work together and how we interact. And that's why I think cooperatives are so strong, because they're not just looking at the sustainability outside, they're looking at equality and democracy within our place of work and trying to bring that back in there. So, what are we doing in the UK at the moment to make this a reality? AltGen is just 1 year old, and we've built partnerships with 15 different universities all across the country. And we've been going in and running workshops on what cooperatives are and how you can set them up, and also going along to careers fairs. I don't know if anyone's ever been to a careers fair before, but there's the same 40 companies, it seems, that go to every single university all around the country. And to me, as I saw this happening, I was like, this is crazy. No wonder we're all applying for the same jobs. It's the same few companies that everybody's speaking to. So actually we're trying to educate and get this idea out there that you don't just have to accept those limited options that are available. And actually it's time to start thinking about what you really love, what do you really want to do, and how can you work with other people to make that a reality. So we've spoken to about 3,000 students to inspire and get their opinion on things. And we've also just set up 5 new cooperatives as well. Now these youth cooperatives are in various different areas. We've got one student paper, we've got a tech startup, we've got people producing honey, all sorts of different things. These 5 co-ops are going to form the basis of a young cooperators network in the UK. And they're just the beginning of what we want to do. We're going to ask them all to put something back into that network, and the idea is that these businesses support each other. They teach each other, they learn from one another, they trade with one another. We want to start building this different economy in the here and now, and not waiting for some high authority to say, okay, here you go, now you can make it happen. This isn't just happening in the UK, this is happening all across the world. 1 billion people are already members of cooperatives globally. That's 1/7 of the world's population, and yet we never hear about them. So there's young people that are doing this and are engaged in the cooperative movement from South America to San Francisco to Kenya to Brazil. And I think this is really, really reflective of the situation that is happening to young people all across the world. We're really tired of being told that our voice doesn't matter. We're really tired of not getting a fair distribution of the wealth that is created by the economy. Being tired of that we can't create, that we're being dreamers and we can't create this different kind of economy that we want to see. And actually we can. And we can by working together, not competing against each other. So we're building these networks on the European level and on the global level. And I think I'll finish with that, saying that I think the way that young people will build this future, use this crisis as an opportunity to say, we're not even happy with the reality that there is now. We don't even want to try to bang against these walls and be a part of it anymore. We actually want to create something different. We want to create work where our voice matters, where we're doing something we love, where we're working collaboratively with other people, and we know that we're contributing to this more equal, democratic, and sustainable economy. So I look forward to building that with you. Thank you.